Peace and blessings. Welcome back to Diva G Reborns. We are working on Honey, Part 9. What's new with Honey? Well, I decided to totally strip her and begin her face again. Her limbs are the same, but I stripped her completely because I didn't think that I would be able to achieve a smooth blend. And I want her to be the best that I can do. And that means starting again. So here we are with Honey. It took me three of the cosmetic wedges, excuse me, cosmetic sponges, soaked in alcohol to get the all of the paint off. It took me three of these, okay, and these are actually Whispers also. I like to use these to remove my eyeshadow and what have you also. They have two sides to it. One side that's a little bit smooth and another side that is kind of cottony. So what I did was I put the alcohol, I soaked it in alcohol, three of them, well, two at first. And then what I did was I just went over her little by little, and I removed all of her paint, and it all came off very nicely. The only thing that was slightly there was a hint of yellow in the mid face, but it was very, very, very faint, very faint. So, what have I done in the meantime? I have put uh, two foundation layers, the taupey color that I like to use. I put two of those on her. I left the red, in her mouth and the shading in her nose. I left that there. So, like I said, two of the foundational layers. After the foundational layers, I went in with the yellow ochre in the highlighted areas. So, what I did was I went in with the yellow ochre right here, kind of like in a T zone and on the nose and on the chin right here. And then I went on the cheeks, kind of like the apples of the cheek, kind of like this way on both sides. I also took the eyelid purple and I creased her nose. I also went in the folds of her mouth with the eyelid purple here. I went into her ears, what would be the ear canal to create depth. And I went over the top of the ears with the eyelid purple because remember, the purple makes everything better. So when we begin to build it up with the deeper colors, it will it will go quite nicely. So yes. So I am showing you what I did and explaining to you why. Sometimes something might happen and you feel the need to strip the kit because she was not cured. I was able to strip the kit with the 90% alcohol. After I stripped her with, like I said, with three of those cotton rounds, I then carefully rinsed her with cool water, and then I took some Dawn detergent on one of the rounds, and I washed her a little bit, and then I rinsed that off also, and then I let her air dry. And after she was dry, that's when I put the layers on that I explained to you. So, yeah, so here we are. So, right now, I think what we will do is we will go in with one more layer of the yellow ochre in the mid face. Just one more layer of that. And I think we will be well on our way. Well on our way, creating a beautiful reborn named Honey. Yes, a beautiful reborn named Honey. Yes, she is beautiful, and I am happy that I am able to reborn her. So I'm taking my yellow ochre. Have you seen the shorts and the checked out the community tab to see what's going on? Tell me what you think about me stripping Honey, her face at least, or her head, her entire head. Yeah, so I stripped her because eh, I thought it might be better rather than trying to correct something that I may not have been able to correct smoothly. So it was just easier because it took me about 15 minutes to actually strip her. So that was okay. So I'm going to go ahead with the T-zone, the yellow ochre on the T-zone. I'm going to see if I can get in the camera. Okay. Then the nose, tip of the nose. And then I want to go on her cheeks here. Okay. Had I chose to continue going, I could have, you know, went on with trying to correct the mid face. However, I didn't see the point in doing that and then possibly not being pleased with the outcome. Oh, and I also put the yellow, excuse me, the eyelid purple under here under her chin to create depth and dimension. So now we are going to just pounce, 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 pounce. Okay, and we have a nice yellow, what will be considered an undertone for her that will be shining through. Also, what I did with the eyelid purple, I outlined the fulcrum. So I went in there. I went there on the fulcrum, underneath here, and on the other side of the fulcrum. So that, again, when we begin to create the deeper colors on her, that eyelid purple will make it just that much easier. We're going to go in with our number 5 color, our nutmeg. We're going to go over her entire head, face, including her lips. Okay, I'm going to put a little bit of this nutmeg cafe con leche coloring, this hot cocoa color on her entire head and face. Yes, so sometimes you have to know when you can correct something and when it might be better just to maybe stop and begin again. Um, I don't feel, defeated or anything. I mean, it's not a big deal. I mean, it happens. It's art, you know. There is no one, two, three way, uh, just to do something. So, it happened. Okay. So I stripped her. It's all right. It happens. It's the first time happening with me, but, I learned something. It's a learning opportunity. You know, it's not a big deal. The world did not come to an end. So, yeah, it's just fine. Just fine. And I probably will have other kits in my reborn artistry um, journey that I may have to strip again. I may have to strip in the future. I would hope not, but it's possible, you know. I mean, I'm human. I'm not perfect. I'm learning. I'm learning. As I've said a few times in both of the series with Kato and with Honey, I'm just two months old. 2 months old in doing this. So I am here on YouTube sharing what I do and actually documenting my reborn journey, so I can actually, share it and look back on it and say, oh, just look back at it. Sometimes I look at my earlier videos and they make me they make me smile because it was a different time. It was a different time. There were other things that were going on, you know. Um, when I started my channel many years ago, both of my parents were alive and well. And, now, unfortunately, I do not have my parents. I was given the bittersweet gift of taking care of them until they drew their last breaths. And that was 3.5 months apart. I talk about it a little bit earlier on my channel, just a little bit of it, but I'm grateful that I had that opportunity and that I knew how to care for them. I'm grateful for that. And I'm grateful that I had my parents for as many years as I did. They were happily married for 64 beautiful years, and they were 84 when they transitioned. Such a I was really blessed with some beautiful parents. And I know they would be getting a kick out of seeing me do these dolls because I told you my mother, she always liked babies and, things like that. And my father, he would always laugh at me or laugh at the babies when I had them around him, when they were around them. So, my mother, she would look at Serenity Rose and say, oh, she's grumpy. She's grumpy. Look at her feet. She would say things like that about Serenity Rose. And, Aliana Golsi, they would get a kick out of her. My mother would say, oh, look at her hair, things. It just was, so I could imagine that they would be getting a kick out of, these beautiful, reborns that I am, being able to create. So I think that they really would. Uh, I got a little bit distracted there. I forgot. I didn't do Honey's ears. So let me do Honey's ears. Yeah. I'm gonna go in with the smaller brush so that I can get in there. And oh, here it is. This angle brush is one of my absolute favorite brushes. This angle brush, it came with my Ultimate Fusion air dry paints. And they sent I don't know, they sent maybe 5 different size brushes along with a kabuki brush, and so I do use some of their brushes. The ones that have the black handles happen to be Ultimate Fusion. Well, most of the ones that you see with the black handles are Ultimate Fusion brushes. Now, but actually, although they came, with the Ultimate Fusion air dry paints, they're actually just makeup brushes. That's what they are. They're makeup brushes. A lot of the tools that we use for reborning have, initially were for something else. You know, like we use bottle stands and mug holders to hold the limbs of the dolls. We use the cosmetic wedges to pounce out the paint. We use the cotton rounds, for the dolls. We use the Q-tips and the microblading Q-tips, for the dolls to remove paint and to get in and out of the crevice, the creases and the crevices. So everything has, a different purpose. These jars that I like to use for my paint, they happen to be they come in a set of, what is it, 6, I think? And they're actually for baby food, where you can warm it up and cook, things like that for baby food. I just like them because they're a decent size. These are I think 3 ounces. Let me see. I think they're 3 ounces, and they stack on top of each other, and I like them that they're glass. Um, they have something similar to that's plastic. However, I like the ones that are glass, and not that I'm getting anything from it, but I did get them off of Amazon. I'm not promoting Amazon, but I'm just sharing, you know, things that I find that are helpful to me that may, in fact, be helpful to you. So now to go across the limbs, I'm going in with my number 4 custom blend, which is what I call a medium brown. So I will be going in with this on the limbs, continuing to deepen up the color. And yeah, so that's what we will be doing. Just deepening up the color nicely. It is Saturday, November the 1st, 2025. What have you been doing on today? How have you spent your day? Are you enjoying the weather where you are? We're in the fall here. And so, yeah, we're in the fall. So the weather is starting to get cooler. I'm a summer baby. I like the warm weather, you know. But however, I'm grateful for whatever it is. So, yeah. So just going around all of the limbs, building up this color. It's so funny how once you get the color on, how real, really how real they begin to look. It's like, oh my goodness, they really start to look real. Like I'm thinking of, like I mentioned, I have to stop saying, I'm thinking about reborning a toddler, and she's the size of what is it? I think it's a 3-year old. And I have to share something. When I was a little girl, I had a doll that I don't know if anybody remembers this doll or had this type of doll where you would take one hand and she would walk. You would use one of her hands and just kind of like swing it back and forth, and she would walk with you. And I love this doll. I really did, and everything like that. And I don't know, I might have been, I was a little girl. I don't know. Let's just say I was like 5 years old or something, because the doll was almost as big as me. And one night, she appeared in my dreams. And she was walking on her own, and she frightened me doing that because I knew she she was a doll and she was walking on her own, and I got scared. And when I woke up and I told my parents, and they said, well, it was only a dream. And you know what they had to do, because I was so uncomfortable? They put her in the attic because I was so like uncomfortable with her. And then um I wouldn't play with her anymore after that. And the interesting thing, now this is going to be really funny. So when I was taking care of my parents, I moved into to their home, which was the home that I grew up in. I moved into their home to care for them. And when they transitioned, you know, was going through, all of the belongings and everything, and I went in the attic. And guess what I found? Yes, you guessed it. I found the doll. So I brought her home, and I was like, oh, I'm going to, take care of her and this, that, and the other, of course, because, I love dolls. Well, I started getting creeped out again because I remembered the dream. So I had her in the corner. I had her like in the corner by the fireplace. And then because I was so creeped out, I ended up putting her in the closet. She is still in the closet like 5 years later. So I'm wondering, making this toddler, is it going to creep me out? you know, I mean, ultimately, the dolls that I'm making, I plan to put them on the website, like that, so someone else can enjoy them. But what do you think about that story? Have you had any kind of stories or things like that have happened to you or anything? I'm just curious, or is it just me? Ah, that story just tickles me pink. I mean, it's just like, oh my goodness. But it happened. It happened, and she's still in the closet. I have her here with me. She is in the closet. And she is in one of the coat closets. So I don't even have to see her on a regular I don't have to see her on a regular basis. Not like she's in, the clothing closet like that. Nope. Nope, nope, nope. So that's too funny. Look at that beautiful skin tone, that beautiful coloring. Yeah, you can see we're building up depth of color. We're building up depth of color. Yeah. I just tickled myself telling that. Now here I am, a grown woman, still triggered by something that happened when I was a child. Oh, it's so funny. It's so funny. It's so funny. That's why when things happen, when you're a child, it can really impact the rest of your life. Not that that impacted me in a a really negative way. It's just as what I just shared. I was looking at something on what was it? Maybe it was, oh, it might have been a short on YouTube, and it was this lady and her daughter. She was probably like about 4 years old, and she had her in the shopping cart, and they were in a toy store. And the mother came, showed the daughter this. I don't know. I guess it was something like a elf, but it was kind of like scary looking, kind of creepy looking. And the little girl was like, "No, mommy, put it back." And the mother just kept like bringing it, pushing it toward us, saying, "You don't like it? You don't want to see it? Come on, don't you want it?" She want, we can bring her home and take care of her. And the little girl was like, "No," and crying and like really, really upset. And I thought that was so not nice for a a parent to do. Sometimes, people are doing things for views or likes or whatever it is, um, and that's traumatizing for the child. That's traumatizing because you don't do something to intentionally cause of cause fear in a person. You don't do that. You don't do that in an adult, and you definitely don't do that in a child. It's not funny. The mother thought it was funny, and maybe she did it also. What do they call it? Rage bait. When you do something that people are going to not agree with, but then they just can't help but comment. And what that ends up doing is it ends up pushing you into the algorithm, you know, or what have you. But at the cost of what? You know, possibly damaging her child. At least that's what I was thinking. I was like, and the child really looked terrified, and like I said, the mother, she thought it was funny. And and like I'm saying, how I had that doll and I loved her and everything, and because I had that nightmare, still today I feel uncomfortable, with about her. So what might happen to that child, because her mother did that to her? I mean, I don't know. What do you think about that? You know, the things that sometimes, people do, and I guess maybe sometimes they're not thinking about what the ultimate consequences might be. Sometimes people they just don't be thinking. Or maybe sometimes people do be thinking, but they don't care. I mean, I'm not judging the mother because, I don't know them. I don't know the full context because all I did was saw that little short, which was the video on yeah, I think it was YouTube. And so I don't know them. I don't know the story completely. I just know what was shown, you know. And it was the mother who uploaded it, And I mean, I don't know. I guess I'm a different kind of I guess I'm a different kind of person, I don't I don't like things like that. I don't like things like that. Now, however, I don't mind. I like horror movies and things like that, which I haven't seen a good horror movie in quite some time, but I do like a good horror movie. Like one of my favorite horror movies happens to be The Exorcist, Pet Cemetery, and I remember it Saw was opening up. I don't know which one it was, but I remember I was still working at the time, and when I got off from work, I went to the movie theater to see the first, the opening of it. I just could not wait. I wanted to see that movie. And it was good. And one of the other movies that I like is um Hellraiser. Hellraiser and Chucky and you know, uh these kind of things. So it's funny that, I'll watch and I enjoy stuff like that, but then there are other things that you know, kind of will bother me. Um, however, I guess probably, there are certain things that definitely don't bother me because, as I said in another um, video, by profession, I'm a registered nurse, although I'm retired now. And I've seen and dealt with a lot of things, you know. So there are certain things that don't bother me, although I have compassion. Um, but, so maybe that's why I can sit and look at a horror movie and it doesn't bother me because I don't know, but maybe because I know it's not real, you know, or something like that. I don't know. Um, I remember one of the videos I was sharing, and I think I was upload with Kato, and I was saying that I was looking at the the story of Jason and the story of Friday the what is it, Halloween and those types of things. So I mean, I get a kick out of them. Yeah, hmm yeah, I do. I get a kick out of them, but I haven't watched a horror movie or anything like that in many years, in a long time. But that is something that I used to definitely really get a kick out of. And one of the favorite one of the favorite ones was Night of the Living Dead, Part 2. You may not have ever heard of that one. You'd have to be, I guess, of a certain age, a certain generation to maybe have heard of it or seen it. So that was something. Now, that was a movie that actually my children, they liked. That was one that they liked. That was I have twin sons and they liked that movie, when they were young growing up. So, yeah, but that was something that they wanted to see, not something that I made them, that we made them do or anything like that. That was just, just interesting. So leave in the comments down below maybe some movies that you like, something that people might find unusual or different about you. And leave that down in the comments and let's hear about that. I'd like to hear it. I definitely like to hear it. We're going to go over honey with our number 5, which is our nutmeggy type color. I mean, it looks so good. It looks like, it makes you think you want to just like eat it, but you can't because obviously it's paint, but it looks so delicious. It looks good. It looks good. So tell me, what movies? Tell me, I want to hear if there are movies or shows that you like that may be on that people may be surprised that you like them or something like that. And we are just pouncing out. It's like the Swisspers wedges. They give kind of like an airbrush finish. Maybe that's what it is. It's kind of like an airbrush finish where it's not so much that you're seeing quote unquote pores, but it just makes it look like skin, like I guess like I said, like airbrushed. And since they really are cosmetic wedges, I guess maybe they do give an airbrush finish. I don't use them for for that purpose. Um, I just have them using them for reborning. But mhm. It's so funny how things can have multiple uses. Are you surprised to hear that I like horror movies? Ah, does it shock or surprise you? Tell me what you think about that. Although I really do like The Exorcist, I will not watch The Exorcist at home alone. I won't do it. For whatever reason, I just don't, I just won't do it. And now, The Exorcist, I read somewhere that although, in the movie, it was Linda Blair, was the character. However, I read that it was based on a true story that happened to a little boy in England, and he ended up in a um like an orphanage or something. And I mean, of course, they embellished it in The Exorcist, but it was based on a true story. hmm So I don't know. Maybe that's the reason why it bothers. I won't look at it at home alone. I don't know. I don't know, but it's a very good movie. It is. It's a very good movie. The the special effects and everything was very good. Linda Blair's character, she played Reagan, who was a little girl that, was possessed, quote unquote, and she needed to be exercised. And so she really played that part. Now, I was looking at something on YouTube, and it may be because, I don't know, it might have been because I was looking at these, things about Jason, the true story of Jason and what have you. Well, at any event, and because, I do the dolls, so a lot of my feed is with, something about dolls and other reborn artists or dolls in general. So anyway, this artist who happens to take dolls the size of like a Barbie, and he takes them and he makes them over. There are things that he does with clay, like how you see the sculptors, create these beautiful kits. Well, he does certain things like that. And what he did was he had one of them that he actually made look like Reagan in The Exorcist. I was like, oh my goodness. So he's very talented. I enjoy, his channel watching that. So I guess that's a little interesting, a little known fact about me, huh? A little known fact about me. I want to see. Okay, so our honey, her face has to dry. We put on the the nutmeg, her face is still bright in the middle. You know, she still looks nice and bright. You can see some color change when you look at the flange, okay, but not much. But we are going to go across her face again with our nutmeg. Then we're going to begin to build up with the darker colors so that ultimately she will become very similar to our Cato. She will have a similar complexion to our Cato. So that will be very, I think that would be very nice to build her up to a rich skin tone as well. I think that would be very nice. Okay, so I am going to use the heat gun a little bit to dry Honey's head. Okay, so why is it not coming on? Okay, the plug came out. Okay, so we will now dry Honey's head. Okay, well, I think Honey's head is dry enough for us to work with. Let's see. Yeah, yes, she is dry enough for us to work with. So what I will do is I'm going to take a little bit. I think I'm going to use the raw. No, what is it called? It's called burnt sienna. I'm going to use a little bit of the burnt sienna on her head, not on her face, but on her head. And because I was looking back at the videos of Cato, and I did do the this burnt sienna on Cato as well, which is this brown with red undertones. And I'm pretty certain that if I put that in her mid face, it's going to turn her, it's going to be too red. So I don't want that, but I do want some of that coloring on, you know, on the rest of her. So on the rest of her head. Yeah, so I think that's what I want to do. Because that, of course, everything adds a dimension. And that's what we're looking for. Now, it didn't turn her red, as you can see. Um, I don't know. I really have to kind of think about it. Because I don't want to mess her up. I don't want to mess her up. I want her to have a beautiful, beautiful outcome. And, I'm just playing and mixing, colors. And I'm having a lot of fun. I really, truly am. I'm really having a lot of fun reborning. It's a lot. I mean, it really is a lot of fun. Just, having your creative juices flowing and, you know, it's just a lot of enjoyment. I find it very much so. Very much so. Very much so. Well, I don't know. It looks like I'm going around her whole face. But it's gonna be light. And then, it's not gonna be dark. It's not. She's gonna have a rich skin tone. Um, she's gonna have a rich skin tone. It's not gonna be, you know, so it's not gonna be like red where you look at her and you think, oh my gosh, the baby's red. No, she's not gonna look like that. It's just gonna give her the illusion of some blood flow and dimension of color. And I just got to make sure I pounce it out where it blends nicely. I'm trying to avoid her lips, but I'm going everywhere else. Let me get her ears. And behind her ears. I'm going to show you up close what she looks like. What the color did for her. You see? It just kind of deepened the color, however, not red. She doesn't look red. And so I think when I do go in with the deeper brown, it's going to be very nice. I think it'll be very nice on her. Where is the tape? Let me have it out. Okay. So we are going to maybe do one more layer of the burnt sienna all over, and then we'll begin to really focus on the mid face more so. Okay, so we are going to apply another layer of the burnt sienna on our honey. I don't know, I seem to be getting a little bit of streaking. I'm just going to put a little distilled water mixed with the wedding drops in and just stir that again really well. Mix up everything, make sure. You know, burnt sienna is a very pretty color though. It really is. It's a very pretty color. And remember that patting in a circular motion that I said I like to do to avoid sharp edges. Trying to see if we can start outlining the mid face. There we go. There we go. You see, we're getting the mid face outlined. So our honey is coming along quite nicely. Well, I would encourage you to like, comment, subscribe, and share. Turn on your notifications so you'll know when I upload again. Stay tuned because I have a interesting upload coming up. Do stand by. Enjoy your day. Stay safe. Peace and blessings.